Hey you guys, so this is What Music Means to Me, and today I'm going to be talking about a song that came out a couple weeks ago called Prayer for the Broken by Naya Rivera, as well as featuring some of the Glee cast. Now, I will have an article attached that also talks about this song, the logistics of it, why was it released now, kind of everything in regards to this song, and I'm going to just paraphrase some of that article now. But if you want more in depth information, feel free to read all of that in the description. But the reason why this song was released was, I would honestly say, a few different reasons. This was a song that Naya was working on before her passing in July 2020. And essentially, every year there's an annual fundraiser, and it's called Snicksmas. And if you don't know, I would say a lot of the Glee information. Snicks is a character that Santana talks about, who is played by Naya Rivera, and that's why it's called Snicksmas. Um, but essentially, the Glee cast, they wanted to provide backup vocals to kind of finish this song. They got permission to finish it and release it. So then for Snicksmas, for the charity that it was being done for, all the proceeds for, people who would buy the song, it would then go towards that charity. So the charity that they were helping this year was Alexandra House, which Naya Rivera was very passionate about. And this charity essentially helps or supports women and children who are experiencing homelessness. And so that is why they wanted to essentially, finish the song, do the song for, I would say, those two reasons. Um, you know, kind of not having Naya's memory out there, but this is a song she was working on, didn't get to finish. And since they got permission to finish it, they then also were able to kind of contribute towards a charity that Naya was passionate about and kind of help towards that cause as well. So I'd say it's kind of a heartwarming story in two different ways. And the Glee cast, so the cast members who were involved in this included Ashley, who played Lauren Zayces, Vanessa, who played Sugar Mata, Kevin, who was Artie, Heather Morris, who was Brittany, Amber Riley, who was Mercedes, and then Jenna, who played Tina Cohen Chang. And essentially, again, throughout this article, they talk about, when working on the song, it was kind of like not a throwback, but almost like every time they would just have these memories of Naya and, just kind of talk about the good times before her passing, kind of reminiscing on everything. And now that they were able to work on this song, kind of helping getting it out there, it was just a time for everyone to kind of come back together and help on this cause. Now, this song, I think truly, I think it has a lot of different meanings for a lot of people. I know when I listen to it, it is very vulnerable. It is one where I think a lot of people can connect to it in a lot of different ways. And I think vocally it's done very beautifully. And the fact that you have people who she was very close with who wanted to come together, it just also kind of having that story, I think also makes it more sentimental and more, I don't want to say tear jerking, but I listen to it and I feel a lot of different things lyrically as well as musically. And I think that's what a lot of, again, whether you know the background or not, I think a lot of people can connect to it in a lot of different ways. So I'll go through some of the lyrics, we'll talk about the song, and go from there. So the lyrics I will also have posted in the description down below. But the first verse is sometimes I'm overwhelmed with everything I feel because I know how we break so easily. Sometimes I get so scared it will all fall away and I need to remember just to breathe. For me personally, I I feel and I think uh, for people who are anxious, for people are who maybe think constantly, it is one of those things where with all the thoughts and with being consumed by so much, it is very easy to, I don't want to say be stable, but to sometimes keep it together at times. If you are like constantly thinking about so many different things, having so many things to focus on, and if you aren't able or willing to share different things with people. And that's where, when it comes to those last two lines, you know, sometimes it's important to just breathe. And I think that's something where I've heard that a lot because this is something I suffer with because I am constantly overwhelmed all the time with a lot of the different things that my mind just thinks about or is constantly kind of going on about. And I'm told constantly by particularly my grandmother, you need to just breathe. And this is honestly, I think, the start of the whole song, where prayer for the broken is not just for, I think it helps for those who are dealing with trauma. I think it helps for those who are dealing with any mental health issues. I think it's for those who are just dealing with anything in general. And so that's where this song in particular, I think, really dives into different facets and can help identify. A lot of people can identify with it in a lot of different ways and connect with it in their own experiences. And so then when we get to the chorus, it's this is a prayer for the broken, for those who are afraid. This is a cry for this brave world, so beautiful and strange. It's all so temporary, but we are not alone. So hold me like you'll never let me go. Again, I think this, like I mentioned earlier, it's for, I feel, anybody who's kind of working on, or I don't like saying suffering, but dealing with a lot of different issues. It's not just it's this or it's that. It's sometimes I think, I don't even want to say you're given a label, but you're you feel a certain way in regards to different things that you're told, but then given what you are told about yourself, you then feel I'm broken. Something's wrong with me. I need to do something about it, or something needs to be fixed. And it can be scary. And at times, I think for some, it's where's the hope? Where is the safety and security? Like, what is, like, kind of what is there? And here it's saying, even though it's scary, there is something beautiful, there's something here, and it is very temporary. You're also not, it's not like it's just you. A lot of people deal with these thoughts and these issues where it feels like it's you because half the time it's not discussed or people are afraid to discuss it, but you will find individuals who will maybe talk about it, or a group who is safe to, or a group who is experiencing the same things as you. It all depends on the circumstance and what is happening in that particular situation. But that is essentially, I think, what is being discussed here. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the song because I like how it's done vocally within this pre-chorus, where essentially, what's being said is, I tried to let go like a flower in the snow. We're so vulnerable, every one of us. Maybe the only thing eternal is love, and love is the evidence we need. Like I said, I like it because vocally, it's something about it. I just really enjoy this part. I enjoy the whole song, but this particular section, there's something done to where for me, I just enjoy it. And two, with this particular part, I think as well with the flower in the snow, again, as you know, once winter comes, the flower's gone. But it is such a beautiful comparison as to, essentially saying the flower will die. Like, you are so vulnerable. Once the snow comes, there is most likely the chance the flower will go away. But it's so vulnerable within that environment to where it's like, what will happen? And so essentially what is needed is some sort of compassion and care, more so on the individual side, like in a human being side. It's difficult in regards to a flower, but taking that comparison, transferring it into a human and an individual, really what is needed to make that vulnerability work is, hey, here's my understanding, here's my love, here's my care for you. That's really all that's needed. And then when you get to the bridge, it's until the tears crash down, until the storm cries out, let it out, and all the hurt and pain will wash away. I think here, again, it's for some, emotions are very hard because, again, depending on your environment, what you've been taught, what you've learned, it's difficult sometimes. And for some, it's been taught or understood where if you express that emotion, and depending on what that emotion is, you're weak, or it's too much, or maybe you're dramatic, or it's nothing, it doesn't mean anything. And so here it's essentially saying, again, making those comparisons, letting it all out, letting kind of that storm pass, letting everything kind of do what it needs to do, then everything can kind of wash away. Once you can kind of feel that pain and what you're feeling and kind of express that, that's where you can kind of you can kind of continue on, and you can understand and move past it. I feel sometimes when you don't get to do that, you're missing something. I think, mind you, that's for some, not for everyone. But I do think if you're not able to fully express yourself and fully understand what it is that you're feeling, you can't really cope. You can't move on. You can't move forward. And so I think this song beautifully just kind of says, hey, you're going through something, you feel a thing, you need to feel that thing and know it's not just you. Everyone feels something. Everyone's going through something. And it's painful. It can be tiring. It can be exhausting. It can feel a certain way. It can be odd and strange and maybe difficult, but it needs to be done. And you may be, and I quote, broken, but it'll all kind of turn around. Like you're not really broken. It's just a term that's been given or passed down because of different things that I would just say that different things that have been kind of said, you know. So that that's kind of my thoughts on the song. I very much recommend it if you, again, whether you've watched Glee, haven't watched Glee, give it a listen to. I think it's lyrically very well written, at least very deep for some, and it might have a very deep meaning. Um, and even if you have watched Glee, it might have a different meaning for you. You might feel that connection in regards to, you know, you have these cast members kind of coming together and kind of representing a former castmate, their former friend. So it has so many different meanings to it. I highly recommend it. Give it a listen to. Like I said, I'll have everything linked in the description down below. If you listen to the song, feel free to leave your thoughts down below on what you think, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.